Also, the foreign coverage overall is very poor on Hungarian television. That's partly, again, to do with our lack of funding. But what it means in a diversity context, because obviously, from a diversity point of view, it's not that big a deal that we don't cover the world's big international events, but it also means that we don't cover the international debate on diversity issues. And we don't cover the good examples, the best practice examples that are out there. So you could actually help by funding journalists to go abroad and see what's done in other places and how it's working, and then come home and write about it, or film it and come home and show it on television. Again, I think that would help. And also it would help to make sure that these countries are included in the international debate by helping to fund journalists to go abroad and learn about that international debate in the first place. And of course, journalists are very selfish people. They like to travel, hence here I am in Romania. So even someone who might otherwise not necessarily be interested in this subject area at all, once there's a nice trip involved to somewhere, all of a sudden would discover incredible interest in diversity. Funding, as I said, is a problem, and there is probably a lot more money available than we journalists know. So again, a useful tool would be to build relationships with particular media outlets and help them realize what projects there are out there that they could join, what funding there is out there that they could go for, and come up with ideas that maybe even could be applied for jointly, as in a media organization together with an NGO. So for instance, you do a project, let's say, helping a particular Roma community, but when you bid for the project, you're already bidding with a media organization. The promise is to film it and broadcast it and either make it into a documentary or give it regular coverage on a news program or whatever. I think you would improve your chances of getting the grant in the first place in the project. And it would help to get the media organization's attention and get this thing on air in the first place. Events, if you organize nice events that are interesting enough for us to cover, then again it gives us an opportunity and an excuse to cover the overall issue, which we probably wouldn't if there's only press conferences and workshops and so on that we could film. And maybe slightly off-the-wall events as well, things that are a little bit out of the ordinary. Just one quick idea I had about 5 minutes ago, so it's really silly, but bear with me, for instance, is that there are all these speed dating events. Well, if somebody organised a speed friending event where you get people from various backgrounds spending 5–10 minutes talking to each other and getting to know each other, then, slightly silly idea, but I'm sure there would be media outlets willing to cover it, because it's an event, it's something. You can make a package about this which is funny and entertaining and not just so serious, because we don't like stories that are worthy and serious necessarily. We need to find a lighter touch in them, which is the same with the human angle stories that I mentioned before. But also there are existing programs that you can get media coverage for, like mentoring programs would be a great opportunity for cameras to come along and do filming with. And I think that would work. And entertainment programs and reality programs. I come from a news background, so obviously my ideas are primarily in that area. But there is, for instance, there is a format in Britain which personally I hate, called Wife Swap. I don't know if any of you know about it, but we could theoretically convince even commercial media outlets to do not wife swaps in the sense that you don't put someone in a family, but you put someone from one background into a community from another background and vice versa, and see what happens. And that's entertainment as well, it's reality television as well, but it does address diversity also. And I think if NGOs were approaching, and I don't think they are in Hungary at least, commercial and non-commercial media outlets or TV stations with entertainment ideas like that as well, that could help to reach the people who would never watch a news program in the first place. So there are prizes and awards and various contests that exist in Hungary and everywhere else as well, I know. I think that it would really help to make it into more of a regular feature, and maybe just as well as doing the awards, you could do the Raspberry Awards as well when it comes to diversity. I'm on the board of a journalism prize that we award every month to the best article in the Hungarian media in any genre, and then there's a big award ceremony every year and they get these things. I don't see why you couldn't have something like that for diversity coverage specifically. So every month someone would win an award for being the best journalist in that month covering diversity, and every month one or two bad examples will be mentioned and listed on the website as well, and maybe at the end of the year at the award ceremony we would have the news organisation that did the best and the news organisation that did worse, and that might help to motivate people as well. Workshops we have also, we've had some things like this in MTV Hungarian television as well. What might help a little bit more, I think, than having people come to our offices and talk to us in a lunch break, is to go places where we can actually meet these communities that we're talking about, and we don't have another white colleague talk to us about what this is like, but we can actually make contacts with people and maybe see what some of the communities that we're talking about. But basically, to sum up, I think that one of the problems that we face in Hungary, as I mentioned before, is what we do with the extreme right. And this is not diversity only, but I think it has a lot to do with that. And what would be really useful, in my opinion, and NGOs are probably our only hope in that sense, is to do workshops and do some training for Hungarian journalists who are now faced with this new dilemma and situation of covering the extreme right, about how to do it. And the only way to do this would be really to get people from other countries where they've been dealing with the problem for longer to come and talk to us about it and give us examples. So basically the last thing I want to say, if any of you out there think you work for an organisation that could help in doing that, then come and find me, because I think it would be a good idea, and I've got some people interested in Hungary already, to put together something like that, which would cover the issues of diversity as well as how to deal with racism and extreme right.